great NBL. We are back here with another episode of the Extra Point Podcast here. As usual, I'm your host, Tom, and we had a little problem with Project Fat today. You know, it was pretty busy with actual life schedules, so we got a special guest on here to help me co-host, and that's going to be Lip from the Chicago Bears. How's it going today, Lip?
Pretty good. How you doing, Tom?
Not too bad, not too bad. I really appreciate you coming on with this short notice here to help me finish up this podcast here. So, we just started up today, and last night was the official opener to NBL Season 11. So, not too much to talk about with the draft free agency. It's kind of old news now. So let's just get right into doing some predictions for this season. Not too much has actually happened with the season so far, so can't really cover too much for the games. And everything else, like I said, is old news. So we'll just get right into where we see the season going. And I'll go ahead and I'll cover the AFC. So we'll start with the AFC East. This year, I think we're going to see a new winner out of the AFC East. I think the Bills are going to win that division. They had a really solid draft, a pretty solid free agency. So I think they're going to come on top. I see the Bills going about 10-6 this year, taking that division. And then I see the Jets and the Dolphins tying at I think 8-8, and they're going to tie for second place in that division. And then last place, I see the Patriots, and I think they're going to finish probably 6-10 this year. So that's going to be how the AFC East, I believe, is going to shape up. And let's head up to the AFC North here. I think Sonny's going to win this division again. He did a really phenomenal job through free agency. He picked up a lot of pieces and filled whatever holes he had. So I think he's going to walk away with that AFC North here easily. I think he might have one of his best seasons here. I'm predicting a 13-3 for the Bengals. Steelers, I believe, will come in second. Probably take a wild card team. I think they're going to go 10-6 this year. And the Browns, unfortunately, I think they're going to be off to another rocky season. I'm feeling a 7-9 for the Browns here. And the Ravens, they're in a tough division, and they still just can't get out of that slump. They had a very nice draft and some nice free agent pickups. They're definitely going to improve on their 0 wins they had last season, but I don't have them going any higher than 3-13 this year. But that's a 3-game improvement over last year, which is something to be happy about for the Ravens. So let's head on down to the AFC South now. And, this is always, a slugfest division. They always beat each other up. And the winner doesn't ever win by more than a game or two. So I think we're going to have to go with the Titans here, though. They've won the division a couple times. And I think they're going to, they're the best team in it right now. I think the Titans take it 10-6. I believe the Colts, they've had a couple down seasons. They started off, a couple of seasons ago, were really good. But they've been down the last few seasons. I think they're going to come back strong this season, just falling short of the division, just falling short of a wild card spot. They're going to go 8-8. Jaguars, they always choke at the end. 6-10 at best for Talton and his Jags, and I believe the Texans also go 6-10, so everyone tie for last place in that South there. And over to the West, which is arguably the second best division in NBL. This is always a toss-up. You never know who's going to win it. You got Backley and his Broncos, who just snuck into the wild card, goes and wins the Super Bowl last year. So you really can't tell. I think, though, I got to go with Bayou to win the AFC West here. I think he's going to finish with a great season. I think his team is hot, and they are ready to roll over some other teams here. I think they're going to go 14-2 this year. And then I think Freddie takes the other wild card spot. I think they're going to go 11-5, and Backley, I believe, is going to have a solid season at 9-7, but is going to fall short this year of the playoffs. And the Raiders, much improved team, but again, they're just in this really, really tough division. They had a solid draft, solid free agent pickups. As covered on the Four Verts podcast here, they really revamped that team. They only have a few starters from last year. But I think they're going to have a great season, but they're going to fall short at 8-8 of the wild card and the division. So is there anything you'd like to touch on here in this AFC standings? Anything that you think is not happening the way that I see it?
I think that you said pretty much everything that I was going to say. I had notes down here about what I thought was going to go on in the AFC, and it kind of felt like you were reading what I had written down because it seems like we kind of predict the same things going on here, and I think you got it right where it's going to be going.
Yeah, this late into the NBL seasons, as we're in season 11 now, uh, the teams are pretty well developed now. You kind of have a feel for how every team's going to do. Not too much is going to change from season to season. So I would be shocked to see some different teams make it. But like I said, we always want to see a new team make it. We want to see someone new win the division. So I'm rooting for those Bills in the AFC East there. I know my co-host Project Fat's not going to like that, but we want some new faces here, and I think the Bills have the team to do it this year. So we'll see how that goes. So let's head over to the NFC side now, and why don't you tell us a little about where you see these teams going?
Well, to start, I definitely think that the Giants and Redskins are going to have their classic battle down to the end. I think the Giants are going to take the division at 12-4. I think that they have a really good team, and they just had a great free agency. I don't really think that anybody can really stop him. I think he'll definitely be in that 12, 13, maybe even 14 win range. I think the Redskins will still be in the mix for the playoffs. They had 11 wins this past season. Almost got into the playoffs. It came down to, they had 10 wins this season. They almost got into the playoffs this year. Came down to, the things that it usually comes down to where nobody really knows exactly what it's going to be. But I think that those two teams are going to be fighting each other early and throughout the season. And I think the Giants come away there. I have the Eagles and the Cowboys down at the bottom, with the Eagles going 3-13 and the Cowboys going 2-14. Like you said, it's hard to start something up this late in the game, but those guys won't quit, and they'll play spoiler for some guys down the stretch. Moving to the NFC North, it's really hard for me to give this division to anyone other than the Lions. I think that I just think they're a good team, and they have a lot of good pieces there and play smart football. So I think the Lions take that division at 12-4. I think that the Bears that I own and manage are going to come in not as well as in the past, but I think that they're going to come in second in that division and possibly miss the playoffs. Tough schedule this year for the Bears. I think they're going to come around 10-6. Next, I actually have your Vikings coming in at 10-6 as well. I think that that's going to be one of those situations where it's going to come down to the division matchups and the other things that the tiebreakers have an impact on. And it could be you or me going into the playoffs this year. And then down at the bottom, I have the Packers going 8-8. I think that he lost Golson and Cam, and he's going to have to find something new and have to find it quick, but I don't think he's going to be able to find it quick enough in that division to come out and make the playoffs. So 8-8, I have the Packers. Going down to the South, I think the Saints come back a little stronger this year. I think they make it in easy at 11-5. However, I think that the Panthers can make a good push to try to keep the Saints out. I have them going somewhere around 500, 8-8, 9-7. I'd like to see Jackie Moon get his Panthers into the playoffs and give the Saints a hard time because they had some good battles last year. I'd really like to see that go get a little more heated here in our final season. And then I have the Bucks and the Falcons down at the bottom at 4-12 each. Similar situation. It's late. It's tough to come in this late and try to do something. So those guys will try to give the Saints and Panthers a hard time trying to win the division. And then out west, last year we had, you could pick any of the top three teams, and you could probably even throw all four of them in there. No one really knew exactly who was going to win the division. I think, if I remember right, they all finished 9-7. And
I think one might have finished 8-8, but other than that, I think
well,
it was a three-way tie for 9-7.
The top three were 9-7, and I think the Rams maybe, or
I think the Cardinals were 8-8, I believe.
Okay, well, it was just like they were all so evenly matched within that division, and you didn't know who was going to come out of there. But I think this year's a little different. I think that Saluki and his 49ers have figured out the new quarterback since moving on from Rodgers. I think they've got some pieces that they found and discovered last year, and that they figured out their strengths and their weaknesses, and they're going to play to them this year. I think at 11-5, the 49ers are going to make a strong push into the playoffs and do some damage there. The Seahawks owner is actually fairly new, but he came in and did some good things last year. I think he gives the 49ers a good run for the money. He finishes one game back, but I think that one game is going to come later on in the season. I think that division is going to come down to the wire there. But I don't have the Cardinals and the 49ers very far behind them. I have it similar to last year, and I have the Cardinals finishing 8-8 and the Rams at 7-9. I think those two teams are just right at the edge of having really good seasons. I didn't see enough in free agency and in the draft to really say that these guys are going to break through into the playoffs and make a run for a title. But I do think that they're both very good teams that could. It's going to make it very interesting out in that division, just like it was last year.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you for the most part in all these predictions as well. Like you said with the NFC West, it's a struggle there. And, as we said, I believe there was the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks all tied at 9-7 last year, and the Cardinals at 8-8. So that division is always a slugfest to the end. You never know who's going to take it. I definitely like your prediction with the South. I do think that the Saints are going to come on strong this year and, take that division with ease. However, I could see Carolina making, some decent moves and or Tampa Bay or Atlanta. I know all the owners are good owners. Zahn is seeming to get a new life here in the end of this Madden season, so maybe we'll see some new life in his gameplay as well that'll help bring those Bucks to possibly taking the division or wild card. One thing I will have to disagree with you on, though, is the NFC North, our division here. I think that your Bears did way too much in free agency. I know you didn't bring in that many pieces, but the pieces that you brought in were huge. You brought in some big guys, big playmakers that are going to change your team around. So I just can't go with the Lions taking this division. I know Bomber and his Lions. They have a great team. He plays the game very well, and he manages his team great play calling and everything. But I think the talent on the Bears outweighs them. So I think the Bears take the division, possibly even tying division with the Lions. But I think that they'll beat the Lions in the heads up games, which will give them division. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Bears division, Lions wild card. I could see my Vikings going about where you said we don't have too hard of a schedule this year, so hoping for a better than 10-6, but 10-6 is a pretty respectable record. However, I don't really see the Packers going 8-8. Like you said, they did lose a lot of pieces. They're running with a new quarterback and a new wide receiver and a very aging Eddie Lacy. So I could possibly see them being as low as 7 or 6 wins this year. So we'll see how that goes. But other than that, predictions are solid. I could see the Cowboys possibly having a couple more wins than you said, though, too, because they've had a solid draft last year and a solid draft this year, brought in some new quarterbacks. We'll see how that works out for them. Time will tell. We don't know right now. So let's send this on to a quick break here. We'll be back in a minute or so with an exclusive interview from Zahn of the Dead here of the Buccaneers, who, new life here in NBL. So we'll have him on an interview, as well as our Hall of Fame nominees for the next season. We will announce that on our way back here as well. Catch you guys in a minute. Hello, NBL. I just wanted to thank everyone once again for tuning into Extra Point Podcast here. We're going to use this little commercial break here to announce NBL's new exclusive partnership with the Madden U. The Madden U is your place to go for everything Madden. I'm going to flash up the link to their website here MaddenU.com here. If you're ever looking for a good ebook, to make Madden like a chess game, not a checkers game, or you're looking for a strategy guide to go with your Madden playbook to expand what you already have, go ahead, check out their ebooks here. They have a free ebook on there with the run and gun, or they also have some ones available you can purchase. So go ahead, check that out on their site. Also, be sure to follow them. Their Twitter handle is @TheMaddenU, all one word, as well as their Facebook and YouTube channel is also The Madden U. They also have an app available for the Android and Apple stores here. It's called The Madden U. Go check that out. Easy access to all their features they serve. So, give The Madden U a look and see how they are. All right, NBL, we are back here from our little break, and we have a special guest here on the podcast, and that's going to be Zahn. I think he fits the phrase "the man, the myth, and the legend" very well. How you doing today, Zahn?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good, thanks, man. So a lot of people around here in the NBL haven't really seen you talk too much, and when they do, everyone's kind of shocked. That's you've become like a legend almost. What has really inspired you to recently coming out talking about the draft and stuff like that in the league?
Well, I know I haven't been that active in the chat. Trying to get better at that. I do have a lot to say, of course, but
sure.
Sometimes I just like to chill in the background and just, be on silent mode. But I'm going to try moving forward to stay active, make sure everybody knows my name and whatnot.
Absolutely. I mean, and, it's one thing being active in chat, but most importantly, of course, it's, being active playing your games, which is something that you've always done very well. And you've had a couple bad seasons here, as well as many people, as I did as well. But you've always stuck it out and kept playing. You never give up. You're always playing your hardest. So what's your NBL mentality? What keeps you playing even if you haven't had such great seasons in the past?
First of all, I'm just a big fan of football. It's probably my favorite sport, of course. But I don't know, man. I'm not a quitter. I'm very competitive. Even some games, I'm getting blown out. I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna keep playing. I'm not gonna just roll over and just give up the W. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to make it at least a little bit competitive. Like I said, I don't want to. I'm not playing just to sit there and just lose on purpose and just give people stats and wins. I mean, I'm trying to win as well.
For sure. I think that's something that we really appreciate here in the league, because we do need more players like you who are always willing to fight, even when they're out of like the playoff picture. They're always still willing to fight for that game and not just give it up here. So talking about the season, we just finished the draft here. So how do you think you fared in the draft? Do you think your team's gonna be looking a little better next year?
A little better. I did lose due to issue with the funds we had last year. I did lose a good chunk of my starting offensive line, so that might be a little struggle moving forward. But I do like some of the pieces I picked up. Hopefully they can fit in, come in, and help out right away.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone's always looking for their pieces they pick up in the draft to pick up. I know I can relate to your problems losing people. I have yet to be able to sign a single person, re-sign a single person throughout the 7 or 8 seasons we've had in Madden 15 here in NBL. So it's definitely a struggle, and I understand that. So let's talk about your division a little bit. How do you see that going? Who do you think's gonna take the division for this last season here in Madden 15?
I'm hoping it's the Bucks, honestly. But it is a tough division. All division games they're mostly close. I don't think it could actually be anybody, honestly. The division I feel is kind of wide open. Just whoever comes out and wants it the most is probably going to take it, though.
Definitely. I know you guys got a lot of good players in your division, too, that could really take it at any point. I know last year, I think, mid-season, everyone in your division was either tied or within one game of the leads, and it's always a tough game there. Do you think the Saints I think they three-peated. Do you think they have a chance to four-peat this division this year?
Oh, yeah, they have. The Saints have a squad. Their squad is very nice, very put together on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, I mean, he will be, the Saints will be a tough team to overcome. But like I said, it is going to be a very competitive division. Hopefully, we can put our name in the hats, make the playoffs for this final season. But never know.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, in this last season here, you definitely want to at least make a statement here. Get some momentum possibly moving into, Madden 16 here. So, let's talk a little bit about, next season in Madden 16 here. Tell us maybe a couple teams that you're looking forward to, looking at or what you're hoping for, in the upcoming seasons in the next Madden.
Uh, you know, um, to me, like it doesn't really matter to me. I don't really have a preference. You know what I mean? I'm here to play. So like any team that's available, I would take it. It doesn't matter. I'm not a Bucks fan by far. I'm actually a Falcons fan. So if they're open, I would definitely jump on that. But it doesn't matter to me. I'll play with any squad. Hopefully, in 16 I'll have better luck. Being competitive for the title though.
For sure. Yeah, so and also now since you've been in NBL since the beginning of Madden 15 here, I'm sure you've probably played all the the members of the league now. Is there any one that you feel you have a little rivalry going with, or any opponent that you have that you enjoy playing more so than other ones?
Probably be the Panthers. Jackie Moon. Me and Jackie Moon actually go way back. We've been in a couple leagues together prior to this one. So me and him always play tough games, always close, always very competitive. He has edged me out the last few times we played, but I think hopefully we'll change that. The games will always be very close and very competitive, though.
Yeah, that's the thing with division games too. You play each other twice a year. You really learn each other's game plans. So, you never know which way those games are going to go. And I have the same thing in here with my division and my division opponents. You matter, how bad of a season or how good of a season you're having. It could always go either way, just because you guys know each other's games so well.
Yeah.
So I guess that's gonna wrap up our our interview here. We really appreciate you coming on the show here. Making that your statement here in NBL now, and really coming out and just being that legend that everyone the myth that everyone thinks that you are here. So like I said, we do appreciate you coming on.
No problem.
Both Project and I wish you the best of luck going forward in the season because we're all for new teams. Being heard around the league. We want to see new teams make a playoff push. Teams that not everyone's expecting. So we definitely wish you the best of luck in this upcoming season.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it, Lil. Best luck to everybody else out there too. But hopefully, like I said, we'll take the division. That's going to be the first step.
There you go. We're all rooting for the Bucks in the NFC South. There, we want a new face. We don't want to see a four-peat Saints champion here.
You ain't the only one.
All right. So once again, we appreciate Zon coming on the show. It's always nice to see a new NBL owner getting on one of these podcasts, as well as making his presence known in the league. It's it's always something nice here. So let's head on into our Hall of Fame nominations now. I know it's something a lot of people are waiting for here. Last season we saw Train become our first elected member into the NBL Hall of Fame. So let's go ahead and nominate our new nominees here. The NBL committee sat down and discussed it over the course of the playoffs last season and the the preseason this year. So we have our 5 new nominees. So let's go ahead and let the league know about them. And first off, we have, with no surprise, Sonny of the Bengals. He was one of the finalists last year. Does his podcast over there, does a lot for the league, puts a ton of time into that with all his graphics, as well as always acts in the chat, plays a great game, and, writes his blogs occasionally, posts on the Twitter, he does it all. So, easy first nomination there. Second nomination, we have Saluki of the 49ers. Again, guy's always active. He has his blog, I believe it's called For the Numbers. He writes, 2 or 3 times a season. He always has that out there. He's always on Twitter, always in our main chat. Plays a nice game, he's competitive in one of the most competitive divisions. So again, easy nomination there, definitely deserving. Third, we have October of the Texans. Again, great player, great guy to have around for the league, very likable. I don't think he has anyone really dislikes him in the league. Again, an active guy with the Twitter and stuff like that, so easy nomination there. Next nomination was myself, Tom, with the Vikings here. We do the podcast over here as well as write some blogs occasionally and post them on Twitter. And our last nomination here, we have Freddie of the Chargers. Again, tough division over there. He's always competing, always playing a good game. So that he's got that going for him, and he's on the Twitter and the chat and everything. So they got that. That's our season 11 Hall of Fame class here. And again, we'll be back to announce who our final two are. The committee is going to discuss it throughout the course of the season here, and that I believe will be our first podcast for Madden 16. Right in Madden 16 preseason, that's when it's scheduled to announce the final two members. So we'll be back with that announcement then. But that's going to be all the time we have here on our Extra Point podcast. So I just wanted to once again. Thank you to Lip. Really appreciate you coming in, filling out for Project Fat here. Had some personal issues, unable to do this podcast. I know it was very last minute, but again, we really appreciate you coming on here. Also wanted to thank our sponsors over there at the Madden U. Again, make sure you go check them out with their website, maddenu.com. Check out their app, iOS, Android store, the usual. So once again, I'm Tom signing off. My co-host here, Lip.